If you feel like a giant weight has been lifted off of you this week, take a walk with me. For some of you, this might seem out of pocket because I talk about relationships and attachment styles. But I think what you forget is that I was in law enforcement and my master's degree is in threat and response management, emergency management. And the whole reason I made it here to talk about the things that I do is because of what I observed in crime scene. There was a common theme that was, I'm not enough, or I've done something so egregious that I'm never going to be forgiven. Anecdotally, the biggest challenges that many of us face are our interpersonal relationships. It's both simple and extremely complicated, but we don't know how to relate to one another, at least not well. So many of us roam the planet not feeling seen, heard, loved, or understood. And an even bigger problem is we separate ourselves from one another. You couldn't possibly understand what I've been through, which immediately sets up a barrier to connection with other people. And in a way, you're right. Admittedly, I'm not you, so how could I know exactly what you went through? But if you dive into my comment section, you often find that people sit there and they're like, wait a minute, I thought I was the only one that did this. I thought I was the only one that thought this way. I often gain a new perspective and go, I guess I'm not alone as I thought I was. And just a reminder, I want all people to be happy, healthy, wealthy, and well. One of the biggest hurdles and challenges to that is that you have to want it for yourself. And I've noticed that people are talking about the Smith-Mundt Act of 1948. Very quickly, it aimed at promoting U.S. interests abroad through information and cultural programs. Fast forward to 2012, and thanks to growing global communications, you get the Modernization Act. And at first, it sounds nefarious because it lifted the dissemination ban. And there's other creators that go into this more in depth. I encourage you to check them out. And of course, it leads to obvious controversy that propaganda would be used on US citizens. While supporters said that it would promote transparency and accessibility, especially for US citizens who are abroad looking for information on government funded programs. It's totally normal to be a little bit skeptical on the how and why this is being used, because it doesn't stop news agencies from cherry picking their information. They can use whatever information that aligns with their initiatives and bias. To a more casual observer, it can look like these news agencies are just a mouthpiece of the government. And if there was more authentic transparency, you could mitigate a lot of conspiracy theory. All your ADHD friends that are trying to point out, hey, that's not right. Hey, something's wrong. Pay attention here. Their pattern recognition is a huge flex. As that casual observer, it just feels like you're being talked at instead of being invited into the conversation. As you observe them shout over top of each other, trying to prove their point. And I guess that works if you want to elicit an emotional response from a bunch of boomers. But for everybody else, we just look at that like, what are you doing? You're just sitting there in an echo chamber smelling each other's farts all day. And as you clamor to figure out what went wrong, I don't think you have to go very far. You just have to go within. Do a gut check and an integrity check and ask yourself, do you even believe in the words that are coming out of your mouth? It's like that meme where the kid is sitting in his car seat and he's just like, a bullshit, a bullshit, a bullshit. And when you turn to the comment section on the internet, people are saying, it feels like the 1990s again before Y2K. I didn't realize until Wednesday morning how much weight was hanging over us. As you try to navigate a world that's rapidly changing right before your eyes that you simply don't recognize anymore. It's Bizarro Superman where everything's been flipped upside down. A world where every time you say something, you give an opinion, you share your thoughts, you're lashed out at, demonetized, banned, and reminded that you need to stay in your place. I don't know how long this will last, but the energy in the world that I live in has completely changed. It feels like home again. Anecdotal and observational fact reveals that we have a mental health crisis here in America, and it needs to be met with empathy and compassion. And I know what the extreme end of that looks like. I know what it smells like. I know what it feels like. So if you're trashing people in the comments, knock it off. Take the win. It's time to re-energize the American spirit and step away from identity politics. The one thing that she was right about is we're not going back. I still very much believe in liberty and justice for all. This has to be a collective effort rooted in collaboration. I've been seeing people make a lot of unhinged statements all over social media. You can certainly live your life that way, but you end up becoming the perpetrator of your own pain. We have to stop driving division and look for ways that we can come together. And for many of you, if you were to get involved in things locally in your area, you just might find that you feel better. But no matter where you are or what you think, just remember that there are plenty of people that feel the same way you do.